Hello, 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 career thought leaders. It's good to see you today. And we are going to be talking about the now, the new, and the next in careers, like we do every Tuesday, and looking at the new thing on the block, which is SearchGPT, talking about why it's not really the new thing on the block, and talking a little bit about how it might impact talent acquisition, which we're not quite sure yet, but definitely how our clients can use it in their personal branding, their digital branding, to show up online. Not just SearchGPT, but some of the other tools that are coming along that might play into showing up in results on SearchGPT and other places that are going to be used in these new ways of search. So let's dive right in and talk a little bit about what SearchGPT is. And if you haven't heard of it yet, it's kind of funny. It's like OpenAI gets the prize for the best name. SearchGPT, it's very catchy. But when you look at it, it's really not, at least on the user's end of it, that much different than what we're seeing right now with Google search and Google search results and the way they're trying to integrate generative AI. So let's take a look at this. Say hello. Let me know where you're joining me from in the chat. And I'd love to just get your thoughts on this as we go through SearchGPT. So I will share my browser. Let's see if I can find the right one. And we will talk about SearchGPT. Excellent. All right. So this article from OpenAI goes through what SearchGPT is. So SearchGPT is a prototype. There's a wait list, but it's going to be this new, let's say, browser experience where you can type in a chat and get a results where it writes the answer for you, but then it gives you some other ideas based on your search. So it's the new way to search, talks about just kind of what's coming, designed to give you an answer, it says. Let's watch it in action here. So we can see what it's doing, right? It's giving you a list of the music festivals. It's really small, but you can get the general idea that it's giving you a list of the music festivals there based on your search in Boone, North Carolina. So we're already using maybe ChatGPT. Most likely we're using Perplexity for this already, which is why I say that this kind of gets the award for best name, but it's not really new because many of us have been using Perplexity AI to pretty much get these same results already. But this just puts them in a very pretty format, and then you can click right through to the link like you can in Perplexity. So this is coming. It isn't available yet to the commoner folks of us out there, but it will be interesting to see when it shows up how we can all use it. So drop me a note. Let me know what you think. Hi, Vincent. Great to see you. Hi, Melissa. Nice to see you as well. So again, this is SearchGPT. It is still coming. And I'm going to drop this link in the chat. Just talks about what SearchGPT is. And then if we will share this later on LinkedIn, because LinkedIn for some reason doesn't let the links go through, but I actually might be able to make that happen. Okay, so that is what it is. That is the new thing, SearchGPT. Now, like I said, many of us are already seeing these types of results when we're using Perplexity.ai. Let's just jump over there if you haven't been over there before so that you're not going, what are you talking about, Marie? So we use Perplexity AI a lot. It's research-based. It does the same thing where it gives you the links connected to what you're searching. And actually, this is great because I had somebody ask in one of our groups, how do you use Perplexity AI? And it's really quite simple. You set up an account. You can set up an account if you want. Actually, you can do it without an account, but then you don't get to see what you've done before. So if you set up an account, then you can see your searches. We use it for all kinds of things. So I've been using it for like this one. How could I use Reddit? I think this was, how could I use Reddit in my job search? So this is not really a thing that requires research and data, but you'll still see that we get the links up here, that link to the articles that it's pulling from, but then it writes an answer for us down here. and you can ask more questions. You can get engaged with it. Why we use this, and I'll just start a new thread. I could say provide an SEC report and I don't know, I'm typing fast, so I don't know if it will do it because I didn't ask a very specific question. But look at that. Yes. So it gives me the data as of June 2024. Here's the tech companies by market cap. Here's the SEC filings. And I could ask it more questions and it will find me the answers. It's why we love Perplexity, right? Because Perplexity gave us all this. SearchGPT is going to give you similar things. It got a pretty nice, pretty format. With SearchGPT doesn't exist yet. So I don't know if it will be. I doubt it will be free, but we'll see. And then Perplexity Pro, that's probably the same thing as Perplexity AI. I wouldn't use a AI system to necessarily create your resume, and Perplexity doesn't write as well as the other systems. So I've got a whole post on how to use AI to improve your resume, and I will find that for you and post it there for you, because I recommend a very specific process if you're going to use AI to write your resume. Otherwise, it's obvious and people don't like it. So there's research that shows employers they've changed their opinion, and now the majority of them do not like it when they can tell your resume has been written by AI, which makes sense when you think about it, because when I'm writing my resume with AI, you can't know that I actually did those things. So we're seeing a little bit of a pushback from recruiters on those types of resumes that are really obvious they're creating by AI. Doesn't mean we can't use AI to help us, but we do need to be a little bit more careful. Okay, so I just got in here and put in the site no, it's not liking me. I'm just going to do that. Okay, so I put in that website that we're looking at, right? Well, that we were looking for as SearchGPT, and then I'll put in the perplexity.ai. If you haven't used that one, I'd recommend it. It is nice for research. It's not as great for writing. So if you're wanting to do writing, marketing writing, or get help with your resume, and you won't use it for research, but you wouldn't use it to do writing types of tasks. Okay, let me get out of here. So SearchGPT, it's coming. Perplexity, we know people are using systems like this. And even if you look at Google search, you go in and Google search something, you'll notice that it changes the way you see the results now. So you get the results at the top that try to give you an answer, an AI generated answer, before you even get down into the links. So there's been some research that people aren't going to websites anymore. They're using these types of tools to get their answer. These tools are pulling from websites, but it's not the same, especially for a business, as when you would show up in the search results and someone would click through to your link to read your article. That's just not happening anymore. It's like 70% decrease in click-through traffic from search results to websites. It's huge. It's huge for small business owners. We'll have to have a different conversation about that at some point. But it means some things for job seekers as well. Like I said, we don't really know what it means yet, but there is an article, and I don't know what's going on, what it's going to do yet, but it is going to change things type of article from the recruiter. And so the recruiter site that I follow, it's ERE. And he just writes a little bit about what SearchGPT might mean for recruiting. And like I said, he doesn't give us much information, but it's just this idea that if we can search and get answers from these systems, will we use Google search? And we've tried searching for LinkedIn profiles a little bit on these systems. They're not they're not great because sometimes they'll say we don't have access to that information or I can't pull specific profiles. And then sometimes they'll pull specific profiles. Fine. It doesn't seem to matter what prompt you use. So don't get carried away with the prompting piece. It's really just, are you using these systems to search, and how will that change the way that recruiters search? And we don't know yet. But what we do know is that you can use some of these systems to improve your digital brand. And one of them specifically, going back to Perplexity, is the idea of Perplexity pages. So Perplexity announced these a few months ago, and we are just kind of hanging out, watching, see what's going on. Perplexity pages are kind of a blog and a Wikipedia page combined. So you get the opportunity to create your own page with Perplexity pages that looks like a blog, but it has this research element to it, like a Wikipedia page. So it's a very informed page that you can create. Now, when I first started to see talk about these, I thought, oh, God, job seekers could make a page for themselves, kind of like we used to make an About Me page or a brand.me page where you could have your own website. And now that I dive a little deeper into this, I'm not quite sure that that's what they could be used for, but I still think it's worth it for us to talk about how these could impact digital branding and to talk about the opportunity that might arise. So it's funny, right before coming on this, I saw somebody online, recruiter, talking about websites and how a resume website is just, would be great. And we've been talking about that for a few years, that the websites, personal websites, seem to be making a comeback because you can control the message there a lot more than you can on LinkedIn, right? On LinkedIn, you can't move around your sections. You have limited flexibility to include something you want to include. And it's very public, if you will, to your employer. So you make changes on it, whatever, it's going to be very public. So we've seen a little bit in the last, I don't know, since 2020, we've seen a rise in the use of public personal websites. And that's initially what I thought this Perplexity pages were. But it's not really. I don't think you would want to use it that way. It's more a place where you can show your expertise and create I'm just going to say blog for lack of a better term, a modern day blog where you're demonstrating your expertise and showing what you know. And then that would increase your digital brand footprint because, of course, then your page could come up when people are looking for things, and you would want to find a way to make that obvious that it's your page, to be the author of that page, and to make that clear. So Perplexity pages are a page you can start to publish user-generated content and share it with your audience with a single click. So, like I said, it's kind of like this idea of a blog and a Wikipedia page combined. And I can come in here and I could create a page about something that I'm interested in. So this says researchers, hobbyists. If you're a job seeker and you're interested in a certain industry, a certain technology, this could be a place to create a page. So right away I thought about, the job seeker. Well, it's not job seeker anymore, but the job seeker in my house who's been looking at jobs in the microgrid space. So microgrid, his current company, is getting more into microgrids, and it was a project that he wanted to work on. So you could make a page, right, about microgrids and collect the research, the market research, all of that he could put into this page, and then have that be something he could link to from his LinkedIn page. And again, it might show up when people were searching for microgrids. This page would have an opportunity to show that digital brand, that thought leadership, because you're going to add your own space to it in addition to your own take on it, in addition to whatever research might come up. So I thought this was interesting. If any of you come up with a page, send it my way. I'd love to know what you come up with. You can see a few examples of people who have created Perplexity pages. I almost said Google pages. Good Perplexity pages here. And it's interesting. I'm not quite sure I'm not quite sure how you might use it, but I just think it's an opportunity for our clients, especially those who do have a passion or a specific expertise in an industry or something, that they could create a page that shows their expertise without creating necessarily a website, and try it out, see what you think, and what might work for your clients or what might help them stand out. So here's a little for FAQs on Perplexity in general. I was just trying to see if you had to pay to get a Perplexity page. So I'll check that out, and I can drop it down in the bottom um, when we get there. Perplexity Pro, the paid version, usually these paid versions are more about speed and number of searches and things that you can do, rather than that you get access or you don't. So free users, like it says, up to 5 queries every 4 hours. And then if you're a pro, you get more of those queries. And it doesn't say if pages are a paid feature or a free feature. It kind of looks like it's a free feature just based on what I see. So you could be an early adopter and get in there before they change it to something that's paid, and then your expertise could live on. So this is Perplexity Pages. If you're just joining us, see we have a few new people joining us. So hello, thanks for joining us. Feel free to drop a note and tell us where you're joining us from. We're looking at ways that some of these new features might impact search, might impact hiring, and might impact personal digital branding. So Perplexity Pages being another opportunity for people to build a site for free, it appears anyways, and put their stamp on an industry, an area of expertise. It's not a personal website. It's a place where you would build a page about a content, and then use that to build your digital brand. You could post it on your LinkedIn page. You could have it linked from other things and be an opportunity to show your thought leadership. It's interesting that I slipped up and said Google Sites, because I do think that is one of the options for people to create a free site for themselves if they want to create a site off of LinkedIn. And Google Sites has a free option. Canva also has an option, although I don't believe that one is included with their free plan, and they just raised all their prices. So I'd want to price check that before I recommended it too much. But the idea of creating something digital is great. A lot of our clients are, I don't know about you, but a lot of my clients and a lot of the coaches I hear, their clients are intimidated to start a blog or something. And I think that's what's nice about these Perplexity pages, is that it is kind of research or topic focused. And it doesn't seem like it's something you'd have to continually add to like a blog. It's more of a place for you to create a digital footprint of your area of expertise. And it could definitely be a place for a business to have a presence. So you could see that in the example here. Let me scroll down a little bit. So one of the examples, like Beginner's Guide to Drumming, I'm guessing that person teaches drumming, right? And so now he's got a page that would show up in search results, maybe even show up in Perplexity results. I don't know, like if they favor their own results, but I'm guessing he sells drum lessons. And so he's built this page to demonstrate that expertise. And then I'm sure there's a call to action somewhere. Similarly, how to use AeroPress. I don't know. I'm guessing most of these have some kind of business agenda behind them, which isn't necessarily bad, as long as it also gives the readers the content that's helpful. So writing Cron Jobs Guide, I don't know what that is, but again, I'm guessing that this person teaches effectiveness, productivity, something, and that's why they're here giving us that information. How to make sure it doesn't take from someone else's page. I mean, I guess you could search and see if someone else has a page on that topic, but you're going to bring your own unique take to it. You're going to have your own outline. Even if Perplexity generates some of the content, you're going to have your own unique approach to it. And that's your thought leadership, right? Thought leadership isn't just sharing information. Thought leadership is sharing your take on that information or your take on the impact of that information. And so you would want to have that approach when you created a page, that it wouldn't just be a regurgitation of Perplexity's information, because I'm guessing that's part of the thing here, is that Perplexity helps you generate the content. So it's going to be your footprint is going to show up on it through the topics you choose, the way you curate the information, the outline that you choose, where it shows that thought leadership in addition to some of the information that might be brought into the page from AI sources. And then the last thing, so I'm going to drop one other resource here, and this just talks a little bit about more what SearchGPT is. And I don't know, like I said, I don't know how these two things are related, but since Perplexity is creating these pages, I'm guessing that there's going to be some relationship at some point between the fact that search is pulling in information, and these platforms are creating a way for you to create public content, because they're what did someone say to me the other day? They're kind of running out of new content to feed their platforms, right? They've consumed all the content. Now they're trying to figure out how to make it more specific, how to make it more relevant when someone asks a question. And so in essence, what Perplexity is doing is they're saying, hey, consumer, will you share your insights on this topic, so that then we can add that to our data pool and hopefully be able to answer people's questions better, because you are curating the information on these pages. So then we can bring that in and have better curated information for our generative AI answers. And you can use the resources to improve your own search results, create your own digital presence, so that you get found in these types of searches. And that's really what it boils down to, is that if you want to show up when someone search GPTs instead of using Bing or Google, it's going to be based on the quality of information that you give, but also somewhat the quantity of information that is out there that you've created or are associated with, so that when those questions get answered, your name is in the mix. And I'll show you a business example here as we close today. So I follow Neil Patel. If you're a business owner and you don't follow Neil Patel, I'd recommend it, because he was talking about how to rank your website on ChatGPT. And he gives a little story about how someone wrote to him and said, hey, I found you on ChatGPT. I'd like to work with you. And so Neil tries to reverse engineer the question, right? So he first asked, what ad agency would you recommend for me to hire? And it didn't give him a specific recommendation because his question was too generic and he was using ChatGPT. I wonder if he would have gotten different results if he was using Perplexity. So then he asked the specific, I'm looking to hire an agency. Which one should I hire if I need help with SEO? And you'll see his company, Neil Patel Digital, shows up in the search results. So then he kind of goes through a little bit more. But in usual Neil Patel fashion, he also tells you his lessons learned. So how are they coming up with recommendations? We're not exactly sure. But we do know that he could analyze the patterns and see that when you ask those patterns, that you get a recommendation based on brand mentions. So other people mentioning you. Our clients can't necessarily replicate that, but we could talk about just having more content out there if they show up on their company's careers page, if they show up as being quoted by their company. And then again, I think some of these types of Perplexity pages, relevant, age, so how long have you been mentioned in the conversation? Start now, right? There can't go backwards, but we can start now. And then recommendations and authority is other people sharing your information. And I'm sure some of the factors of websites, the bounce rate and how long people stay on the site and all of that are going to play into these as well as they get better and better, because they're trying to give the best information to someone who's searching. So they aren't necessarily worldly different than what we do for SEO, but it is a lot more on content and on quality content, because that's how people are searching. They're searching for the answer to a question, and the search tools are looking for that answer to send back to them. So I just think about how we could do this for our clients, how we could help our clients do this. They don't need to necessarily start their own blog, but what could they do to increase the amount of content that is available about them, by them, quoting them, like all of those things, to get more content out there on the web, and of course specifically related to their area of expertise, so that when someone does ask a question, they might come up in the response, or their company might come up in the response. So those are my thoughts on Search GPT, and at least in the short term, how it's going to impact our work. If you're looking at how it might impact business, stay tuned. We'll come back with more on that conversation. And I would say that we are having a challenge. So starting on Monday, the 16th, so 2 weeks from yesterday, if you're watching this real time, on the 16th of September, we're going to do a challenge for getting business from LinkedIn. And you're going to see this theme here of how do we share relevant content, but also how do we build relationships? Because as more noise happens, and this is true for search as well, that as more noise happens, it may be harder to get pulled into the search results of Search GPT, but it hasn't gotten any harder necessarily to build relationships, to network, to make those connections that would make you the trusted voice versus the noise that people are going to find when they search online. So how do you become that trusted voice in your business? That's what we're going to be talking about in our LinkedIn challenge. And then, of course, we've got our digital branding class coming up at the end of September. And we're going to be talking about how you help your clients become that recognized voice, but also how they use the tools to make the connections, because it doesn't work to just be sitting out there pushing out content. It's all about using the tools to build connections. So watch out for those things. Our LinkedIn to Clients challenge. So if you're interested in building your business on LinkedIn, and then our digital branding class coming up at the end of September. All right, everyone. We'll see you soon. Thank you. And we'll be right back next Tuesday for the Now, the New, and the Next in Careers.